Lara and Jenna immediately let her go. Jane took her chance and ran up the stairs. Me, Toby and John went after her. She tried the first floor door locked, then went up the next floor. This door had been propped open by someone to make it easier to move supplies through. She ran into the corridor and knocked Terror out of the way and ran into one of the flats and slammed the door behind her. I got to the door as she locked it. I ran into it and bounced off. I heard a scream in the flat. Sky, I yelled, more screams and shouts of "Shut up." I kicked the door, it was solid. Fuck my mind, ran with possible scenarios. Could she turn with Sky locked in there? Would she hurt Sky? I took a moment to collect myself. Jane, I called out, Jane, this time angrily, if you hurt her, I will destroy you. There is no way out of there, just come out and we can figure this out. Silence. Jane, I screamed, booting the door again. I'm not coming out, she said. You don't have a choice, and neither do we. You could be infected. I'm not, she wailed. Well, come out, then you will throw me onto the street to die. Damn right. John began, but I cut him off. We won't throw you out. Jane, just please let the girl go. She has nothing to do with this. No, you're lying. You will come in here and kill me. Jane, we don't want to force the door, but we will no. She shouted. I slid against the door. The others were looking at me. Get the ice axes. I said hold on. Toby said he went to a pile of stuff in the corner and pulled out a sledgehammer. Where did you get that? I said, found it, he replied. I nodded and went back to the door. Jane, this is your last chance to open up. If you come in here, I will hurt her. I took a gamble that she wouldn't. I didn't think she had it in her. Toby took the sledgehammer and we backed up a bit to give him some room to swing. The first hit seemed to have no effect. Aim for the lock, I said. Whilst Toby worked on the lock, there were more shouts from within. After the third shot to the lock, it broke and the door opened. Toby went to head in. I stopped him. Where are the guns? I asked. We haven't brought them up from the lobby yet. A bit of relief went through me. Wait here, I said. I took my coat off, unclipped my baton from my belt and tucked it into my pocket and entered the flat. Straight ahead of me was the bedroom, on the corner was the bathroom, a cupboard, and a short narrow hallway leading to an open-plan kitchen, front room. The door, this was closed. I knocked. Jane? I spoke. I heard whimpering but no response. Jane, I'm coming in. I opened the door. A little Cleo came flying out of the room. That made me jump. I opened the door fully. The front room is small, square, with a large typical church window taking up almost the whole of one wall. The kitchen was to the left. Jane was pressed against the window. The curtains were drawn across. She had Sky pressed up against her, a knife in her right hand. Jane, let her go. We can sort this out. Don't do something you will regret. I took a step forward. Jane pressed further back to the window and raised the knife to me. Go away, she said in tears. I wish I could, Jane, but I can't. I stepped closer. I'm within arm's reach of her now. You okay? I said to Sky. Yeah, she said, barely a whisper. Okay, walk slowly towards me, but don't worry, no one is going to hurt you. She started to walk forward. I thought Jane was about to let her go, but suddenly her empty hand shot forward to pull her back. I stepped forward quickly and pushed Sky away. Jane brought the knife up and tried to slash my chest. I jumped back, making sure Sky was behind me. I extended the baton. Sky, go and wait in the hallway. She ran off. Jane, just put the knife down. We can sort this out. You can stay and we will keep an eye on you, or you can leave, your choice. You're just gonna lock me up. We don't have a choice. Yes you do. Jane, I have seen what these bites can do to people. That has not happened to me, she yelled and came forward quickly, catching me off guard. The knife came down quickly, almost hitting me in the chest, as I stepped back as she was recovering. I used the baton to drive her back. The knife came back again, higher this time. I felt a sting across my cheek. I managed to kick her legs out from underneath her. She fell to the floor, bringing the knife again. I dropped the baton and grabbed the knife hand. She brought her other hand to and kicked me in the crotch. Pain raged through me. John, I yelled. Toby and John burst into the room and grabbed her hands and pulled her away. I lay there on the floor gasping. I got to my feet. My balls ached. I walked back into the hallway and out the flat. Jenna was hugging Sky. You're bleeding, Lara said. It's fine, it's my balls that hurt. I winked. She laughed. I think we're past that, she said. I smiled. You okay? I said to Sky. She looked up from Jenna and nodded. Where's the yells from downstairs? Answered my question. I headed down. John and Toby were in the process of throwing her out the door. No, I said. John and Toby stopped pushing. Jane stopped yelling. Bring her back in. They did. I handcuffed her to the banister upstairs now. I said to Toby and John, what about me? Jane said. I gave her an angry look. She shut up and we headed upstairs. We sat down in the living room, where all this took place, which was actually Lara's flat. We sat down and had a smoke. Throw her ass out on the street, John said. He was angry, and rightfully so. Everyone seemed to agree with him. Wait, I said. Wait for what, Tom? Wait for her to try and stab you again? Wait for her to turn? She's scared, I said, and dangerous, John replied. What if she turns? We handcuff her to a radiator in an empty room. Then if she turns, we deal with it. If not, well, we cross that bridge when we come to it. She tried to kill you. She thought she was going to die. John was red in the face now, and I could understand why we should give her a chance. I said she had her chance and she attacked us with a knife, John said. We vote on it. Then I said fine. John said, everyone in favor of letting the murderer stay, raise your hand. I meant a secret vote. I said, do I get a vote? Sky said. I wasn't sure, but everyone else said yes, so I went with it. We got some paper. I put my point across and the precautions we would take locking her up. If we threw her outside, she would just attract the dead, banging on the windows, etc. John put his point across and we voted. I won 4-3. John was not happy about it but went along with it. Me and Toby went downstairs, unlocked Jane. "What are you going to do now?" She said. "You're staying?" I replied, "For now." She started to thank me. I cut her off. "We are handcuffing you into a room and locking it. You're quarantined for 24 hours. We picked a room on the top floor. We opened up the room with a credit card. God bless the internet. It was 3:00. We opened the room and did a quick sweep to check it was empty. We covered the windows and handcuffed her to the radiator, and Toby left. I got her a bucket for her business and some toilet paper. I put the TV on, handed her the remote, a couple of magazines I found, laid down some cushions to sleep on, and found some crackers in the cupboard and filled up a water bottle. I handed it to her. "You'll just go, Anna, leave me here," she said. "We will come back in a day and check on you. I recommend you keep quiet or you will attract the things. What if I'm not infected? We will have another vote to see if you can stay. What if they say no? We give you some food, water, and point you in the direction of the evac center. I'll die before I make it there, then you should think twice before going all stab by on people." I sat down on the floor out of arm's reach. "When did you get bitten?" "Why?" She said. "I'm curious." I said, "Just before I met you." "Okay, then let's say about 10:20 p.m. I said, "You have any family?" No answer. "Anything to say?" "Not to you." Okay, then I got up and walked out, closing the hallway door behind me, and left the flat. I closed the door. I grabbed a chair and put it a few feet back from the door and sat. Someone would watch the door at all times. No one would go in or out till tomorrow. 8:00. The noise we had made earlier has attracted some undead to our location, though all they are doing is milling about outside searching for a noise that is no longer there. All the windows of rooms we have gone in have been covered. John had an idea of going outside and spray painting dead inside on the front door to deter people from trying to come in, though we haven't seen or heard anything human today apart from Jane. Due to the number of dead outsides, we have had to hold off on destroying the stairway as the noise may attract them to us. We have settled with just moving the supplies to the top floor. There are 5 rooms. Here we cleared them. No one was in them. The other 2 floors we're not sure if there are dead waiting locked in their rooms. We will clear them tomorrow, but the top floor is safe and the door that leads into the hallway is solid. Toby and Jenna have taken one apartment. Lara has kept hers. Tara and John are sharing for the night. Sky has opted to stay with me for the time being. I have given her the bedroom. I will take the sofa. She is asleep now with the hallway light on and her door open. The 5th room has Jane in. I'm watching it now, reading Day by Day Armageddon again. I can just look to my right and see Sky. She wakes up occasionally looking over to see I'm still there and goes back to sleep. No one has been into the room with Janet since I left, and there has been no sound coming from there. I have sat here watching since we put her in. Tara will take over at 11 p.m., then Jenna at 6 a.m. I couldn't keep concentrating on my book and put it down. I put my head in my hands and thought back to the day's events. So much could have gone wrong. Sky could have been killed. I could have been killed, just as easily. Why was I giving Jane a chance? I started to play with my necklace, a metal angel wing. I pressed it to my forehead and felt the cold against my skin. I sighed. God, I was bored. John and Tara had gone to their room. John was still in a mood with me over letting Jane stay. He would get over it. I reached into pocket and pulled out my phone, tuned it into a radio station, and listened. A couple of evacuation centers had already been overrun. Not that they said this, they just stopped mentioning them when they were listed. Foreign news was not much better. France was almost as bad as here. The Americans were making a stand in various places throughout the country, but it seemed nowhere was safe. Now China refused to comment. I turned off the radio. John walked out into the corridor, all quiet. He asked, "Yeah, not a peep. What are we gonna do with her if she isn't infected?" I sighed. "We put it to a vote, and if they want her out, then she goes." He nods. "You're too soft, you know," he said. I nodded. "And look what your fucking cat did to my arm." He showed an arm covered in scratches. I laughed. "And it's not my fault. She hates you." "Are we okay?" he said. "Yeah, man, we are fine. I understand why you would want to kick her out. It crossed my mind to." He nodded. "Night," he said. "Nighty, night, dude." I plugged in my headphones, so I wouldn't disturb Sky, and continued my watch. Maybe tomorrow will be better.